Okay, in this video we're going to be talking field gear. I'll just right out say it in the beginning here. My recommendation is if you bring any tentage to the field that it be some type of military surplus, but I know that not everyone can afford that. They're going to get what they can afford in the store, so it'll probably be like this, a cheaper nylon civilian camping tent. I have my issues with them. They're only good really for late spring through to early fall, where military tentage you can use year-round. So I'm just showing you some ideas here of what you can do to improve this. Yeah, anyone who's watched videos of homeless camps and that stuff, you'll see these types of tents, these basic civilian tents. They put a tarp over the top. That is additional rain protection, allow the material to last longer, won't soak through, help a little bit with the wind. So base tent, get a earth tone type color, at least some type of green, nothing flashy, nothing bright, nothing neon. Tarp to put over it, you want earth tone also. They do make camouflage pattern tarps. Recommendation on size, say your tent is 6 feet wide, you're going to want a tarp that's at least 3 times that in length. So you have 6 foot wide, you're going to want a tarp that's at least 20 foot wide for going over the top of it, to drape it over the top. And that 20 foot wide tarp might end up like this one. It's literally just right down the sides. Hopefully you get a tarp large enough that it'll fit over the top. You just stake it down on one side. You have enough length on the other side. You can make a lean-to type shelter. You can put your gear underneath. You can put your rucksacks and that stuff underneath so it doesn't damage the bottom of your tent. It also helps to put down a ground cloth underneath the tent so you don't poke holes through. I also recommend that to cut down on shine, recognition from air, use some type of camouflage netting over the top. There's different types. There's military, and of that you have US, you have foreign, whatever's on the market as long as it works for your area. There is also civilian camouflage nettings that are sold for like duck hunting and that type of stuff. Some of those get pretty big in size. Use something like that also. Now, as you see right now, we have a general outline of a tent. Try to avoid that. So if an aircraft or something flies over the top, they're not going to notice it. So this camouflage netting, when it would be put up, it wouldn't just be draped over the top like this. You'd have some poles, sticks, trees, whatever, holding it up to rough up the outline, make it irregular shaped. Military camouflage netting, at least US stuff, is radar scattering. So ground level surveillance radars should not pick it up as easily, but still can. That's a recommendation there for what type to get, but they're damn near impossible to get a hold of now. I've looked. If you can find them online, they're extremely expensive. US military issue camo nets have a summer and winter side. The summer side has more green, the winter side has more browns. Flip it over at the appropriate time of year. You get into fall, you start using the winter side. When you start getting into spring, you flip it back over to the green side, the summer side. Plus, the netting can be repaired and patched pretty easily, where the civilian stuff, not so much. Now, you can take that tarp, hold it up above the tent by hanging it between trees and stuff, also to assist with keeping water away, making that shelter underneath for putting gear in that. Just make sure that you have it strung tight enough that the water is going to be flow away from the tent, away from your sleeping area, away from the gear. Now, a big issue I have with civilian tents, for those of you that are probably wondering, is the stitching. I've seen a lot of these tents over the years. They make it maybe about 20 years of service at most, and then the stitching literally starts degrading. It falls apart. I'm sure there's more rugged tents out there that'll last longer. They probably cost a lot more. Well, if you're going to be paying a lot more for the tent, maybe you should be looking more towards military surplus ones. But I know even on those, a basic tent like this, you know, a 2-man, 3-man tent, military surplus, they can jump up to $200 to $400 easy, depending on the type of tent it is. But some things for you to consider if you do use these tents. Also recommend do not have a campfire cooking fire near the tent, because that nylon will melt. It will burn pretty easily. Do not put a stove or open flame inside the tent. Same issues, you can set it on fire pretty easily. Just basic safety procedures on that stuff. Make sure you stake it down good. Make sure you use guidelines if needed to hold stuff down for your netting or the tarps. Make sure you stake the tent down good. I'm thinking about, I could do a video of a mock-up of a potential militia, you know, 2-man teams set up and stuff. Their fighting position, where their cook area would be, and a GP tiny. I might do something like that, and then do some camouflage also. It's going to depend on time and location on that one, if I find the correct location and if I had the time. So here you go, things to consider in case you do go the route of getting a civvy tent for use for yourself and your unit. Always remember camouflage, break up your patterns, make it irregular, no straight obvious lines. Straight lines do not exist in nature. I supplement this with brush, and if you do that, replace the brush as it starts to wilt. Now, for all my engineer brothers in the Patriot and militia movements, always remember, essayons.